Good morning everyone. My name is Monica Bajracharya. We are here to give presentation on our selected topic, Japan tax on alcohol beverage. We are all together 5 members in our group. The other follower members are Indra Bista, Asantosh Adhikari, Saurabh Khatka and Riwaz Pandey. In this presentation we are discussing about Japan tax on alcohol beverage, background of the dispute, brief fact of the case, the legal issues presented on various countries like USA, Canada and Europe, individual party arguments, tribunal decisions, importance of this case on international law, and at first let me introduce on this topic. The Japanese liquor has one of the largest market share in the world with approximately annual sales of 4 trillion yen. In 2019, around $82,000 revenue is collected so far through liquor market, and this is expected to grow by 0.2% yearly. This report is intended to focus on Japanese liquor tax law in context to dispute, fact, legal issues, tribunal issues, and its importance related to international law. Internal taxation system of Japan has a different tax rates for the different categories of liquors, where soju is taxed at the lower rate. On July 22, 1986, consultation with Japan was made upon the request of European committees regarding Japan custom, duties and tax on imported alcohol and wines, but this was not satisfactory. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Indra Vista and I'm very thankful for all other my team members for their huge contribution in this project. In this presentation, I'll be covering the two main topics. One will be background of this dispute and another one will be importance of this case in the international law. First, I would like to start with the background of dispute. There were 4 main parties involved in this case. One were respondent and one were the complainants. The complainants were US, Canada and European countries, while the respondent was the Japan. This case was handled by the WTO settlement panel in 27th of September 1995. The main complaints made by these 3 countries are the complaints were about the Japan liquor tax law 1994. According to the Japan liquor tax law, they treated the different rate of tax for the different types of the alcohol, and they charged different rate of tax according to the strength of the alcohol as well as the category of the alcohol. For example, they also charge the higher rate of the tax for the imported products, while they charge the less rate of tax for the locally made products. For example, the vodka, which is the imported product, they charge the 9,927 yen per degree, while they charge the soju, the locally made liquor, 6,228 yen per degree, and it was according to the strength of the alcohol. But the complainants argued by saying that the Japan treating the different rate of the tax system and Japan imposing higher rate of tax for the imported goods was against the WTO regulation, and it was the breach of regulations of paragraph 1 and 2 of GATT 1994. While this case was circulating around the settlement panel in 11th of July 1996, they come to the conclusion that the Japan has violated the rules and regulations of GATT paragraph 1 and 2 1994. According to the GATT paragraph 1 and 2 1994, it states that the likely and the substitute and the competitive products always should be treated equally. So as the Japan violated these rules and regulations, they were obliged to change their old liquid tax law, and they were asked to bring the new liquid tax law. And thank you, and again I'll be back with the importance of this case in international law.
I'm talking about facts of the case. In 1986, 2nd July, the EC, European Communities, had request for consultation on taxes on imported alcoholic beverages to Japan. There was not satisfactory settlement between the EEC and Japan, so the EC wished to refer this matter to contracting parties and requested that a panel to be formed. Canada, US, Finland, Yugoslavia reserved their rights to make a report to panel and proceeding on this case. In 1986, on December, Japan outlined measures proposed to reform Japan's tax system in the liquor tax. The reduction of the ad volume tax, reduction of specific tax, grading systems for whiskey. There are many types of factors. There are several factors such as categorization, grading, ad volume taxes are given below. The shochu was similar to vodka, but the tax rate on vodka and gin was 4 to 7 times higher than soju. On the case of whiskey, 41 and 26 times higher tax on liters than type A and B soju. Second point is grading. There were grading system on whiskies and brandies which applied them indiscriminately levy tax rate. This system was not applicable to the said product. Ad valorem tax. In the case of imported beverage, 60.4 liters on standard wines up to and 1080 per liter. Moreover, the ad valorem tax of 50% of wine with a levy tax rate of 1081 and more than 8 times than the specific tax. Thank you.
Thank you. So now I'd like to continue from the legal issues presented. The main issue was that Japan imposed different tax rate on imported alcoholic beverages compared to the domestic products. They brought in few related issues too. There were three parties they were blaming Japan: European communities, USA, and Canada. So let's see what European communities say. Liquor tax law violates GATT Article 2, first sentence, charging higher rate of tax to other spirits like vodka, gin, and rum. Soju also being similar product, lower tax was charged. The panel disclosed they were not the like products. But still the community claimed Japan looked for violating second sentence by applying higher tax rate on some of the liquors falling under the same category, spirits on two directly competitive products, the two types of soju. Similarly, let's go to Canada. Liquor tax law violates Article 2 second sentence as well. Canada claimed that whiskey being directly competitive and substitute product to both of the categories of soju, charging lower tax on soju than the other types of whiskey will distort the relative prices of both the products and also their competitive relationships. That's what the Canada blamed Japan for. Moving on to USA. So the USA said that liquor tax law violates GATT Article 2 first sentence because they impose different tax on like products, the soju and vodka, and also it said it violates the second law of GATT second sentence because those two products are distinct products, are directly competitive and substitutable, and again the rate of tax imposed on them were incorrect. So that was what USA said. So overall USA said that this act of Japan violated the whole Article 2 of GATT. Thank you.
My presentation topic is the individual party argument. The party involved in the argument were Japan, United States, Canada, and European Union. The argument is about discrimination of tax system of Japan on imported liquor and domestic liquor. The argument was presented in front of WTO on 27th of September 1995. It stated that Japan violated the law of Article 3 of GATT 1995. Japan used to classify the liquor into two categories. There were Western style liquor and traditional based alcoholic beverage. So they imposed two different tax rates for the two different categories. The grading was based on the raw material and it was compulsory and automatic for the imported liquor, whereas the grading for the Domestic liquor was optional and it was based on the taste. There was a huge line drawn between domestic and imported liquor by Ed Boiler tax rate. Thank you. That's all my part.
In 1989, Japanese government had informed to its contracting parties that the ad valorem tax and the different tax for the different brands of liquor was stopped and reduced for the uniform tax for the implementation of GATT's recommendation. Again in 1996, a body of World Trade Organization stood against the Japanese excise taxes on alcohol dispute related with the environmental based on GATT's Article 3. The three complaining parties, namely Canada, United States, and European committees, have complained against Japan for violating this article. Firstly, for imposing higher tax on vodka than soju, while these are like products, and secondly, taxing higher rate on all some of the similar categories of imported liquor. But Japan failed again to treat products equally and seems to be more protective on its domestic product soju. As a result, Japan isolated its domestically produced soju from foreign soju through a combination of differentiated tax system. Thank you.
Hello, again I'm back with the next topic, that is the importance and significance of this case in the international law. Uh, um, After the appellate body of the WTO upheld the conclusion of a panel report finding that the Japan's liquid tax law was violating the Article 3 of GATT 1994, considering the Japan had agreed to comply with the ruling, the appellate body seems to have successfully dealt with this issue. But yet, analysis of this case played an important role to arise the questions about the appellate body's interpretation of the law. And Japan tax science that appellate body has inadequately performed the interpretive function. Instead of providing the predictability and the clarity, the body has made broad and vague interpretation of the WTO agreement. Though the dispute settlement procedures of the WTO resulted from recognition of a need for predictability and security in the international trade law, the appellate body's interpretation failed to provide such law. So, with all these faults highlighted above, it has highlighted that it is necessary to bring some changes in the models of bodies and panels to make their future decision more fair and clear. As this inadequacy is likely to continue, the body's interpretive power are needed to be restricted. And in at last, they also highlighted that there was no clear definitions for the likely and the substitute products, which also help these WTO regulations and these different bodies to define this term likely product and the substitute product more clearly. And this is how it made a little bit contribution for the international law. And I would like to pass it to other my team members to explain the remaining of this topic. Thank you.
About conclusion, the alcohol beverages like soju and vodka are like product due to taking tax in excess to the of the farmer. The violation of the obligation under the Article 3, first sentence of the General Agreement on Tariff and Trade 1994. Whiskey, soju, gin, rum, brandy, and liquors are directly competitive and substantial product by not making them like equal. The panel suggested that the dispute settlement body requests Japan to apply the liquor tax law.